Hi everyone, I'm Aaron Hoskins. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do mitered corners. I found this method to be easy, and my mitered corners come out perfect every time. The project that I'm going to be teaching on today is a small pillow. I have pre-embroidered the center panel of the pillow. It says, "May your coffee kick in before reality does." I found the perfect fabric for this project. It's from Robert Kaufman, Metro Cafe. It has coffee cups on it. How adorable is this? You'll notice that this fabric is directional, and that's something that you want to take into consideration, whether your fabric is directional or not, whenever you pick out the borders for your project, whether it be your quilt or whatever you're working on. When I cut the border pieces out, I wanted to make sure that whatever ran along the top or the bottom of my pillow went in this direction, pointed up, and also what ran on the side, I wanted to make sure that pointed up. So I wanted to make sure everything pointed up. I'm going to start with the center of my pillow, and this is how I want my borders to look. I have my bottom, my top, my left, and my right. You'll notice that all of my coffee cups are pointing in the up direction. That's exactly what I want here. So when I take this over to the sewing machine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sewing a 1/4 of an inch from the edge, from this edge here. I'm going to start sewing a 1/4 inch from the beginning, and I'm going to stop a 1/4 of an inch from the end. And I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. So I'm going to sew all 4 border pieces on, starting a 1/4 of an inch from the beginning and stopping a 1/4 of an inch from the end. I'm going to take my ruler to make it easy on myself, and I'm just going to make a mark a 1/4 of an inch from the end in both directions. So now I've put a mark in every corner. So now let's go to the sewing machine. I am going to make sure that I have plenty of overhang at the top and at the bottom of the center of my pillow, so that I have plenty of fabric to overlap on the bottom, like so. This is going to be helpful when we actually sew the miter into your borders. What I'm going to do now is transfer this mark that I made on the center of my pillow onto my border fabric at the top and at the bottom. Now you can place a pin at the top and the bottom. I would actually recommend that, but for right now I'm not going to. I'm just gonna eyeball it. Now that I have the right border sewn on, I'm going to sew the left border on. Remember, we need to make sure that we have plenty of overhang at the top and the bottom. Now, I'm going to take my fabric over to my pressing station and press the border pieces to one side. Now that I have pressed my left and my right border fabric away from the center of the pillow, I can now sew the top and the bottom onto the pillow. I've marked 1/4 of an inch from the edge at the beginning of my seam, and I have marked 1/4 of an inch from the edge at the end of my seam. Now I just repeat what I did for the left and the right side. Now what you want to do is you want to take a corner, rotate your fabric to where it's right sides down or right sides together on the other, and fold your project until this top line here is even, until your top fabrics are even. Once that is done, you're going to take your iron and press, or finger press here. I prefer to take my iron and press a nice crease, and then I'll take my ruler and line it up with the edge of my crease. And I'll take a marking utensil and I will mark a line extending out onto my border. Then I'll take a pin and pin towards the center of my pillow so that my two border fabrics don't shift. Now we're going to go to the sewing machine and sew from this stitch line off our border. You are going to repeat that process for all 4 corners. I've dropped my needle onto my stitch line. I'm going to make a stitch forward, make a stitch back, make one more stitch back, and then I'm going to sew forward following that line. I'm going to remove my pin slightly, remove it all the way and hold my fabrics. Once you have mitered all 4 corners, trim all excess fabric away from the seam line. I usually trim about 1/4 of an inch away, and then press, and there you have it. Perfect mitered corners. Don't forget to click that like button below and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Happy sewing!